works with guys. Anytime you do anything remotely sensitive, heartwarming, anything that's going to make you more of a loving, caring individual, immediately all your guy friends suggest that maybe, just maybe, you want to suck a dick. Oh, it's brutal. Even if you do something smart, right? Like it's raining out, he's got an umbrella. What a fag! Oh my God! What are you, afraid of the water? Put your shoulders up, you fucking homo.
So I was in the shower and I was thinking about comic book characters because yes, I am kind of a geek. And you know who has the weakest power? That I don't know what the fucking big deal is with this guy, but Thor, right? I mean, he's got the hammer. I get it. He can fly. But don't they call him the god of thunder? So what? He's the god of fucking loud noises? Like, how is that even considered like a scary thing? Now, I know that he can also fucking shoot lightning and, I mean, he's obviously strong enough to fight the Hulk, at least according to the fucking latest Thor movie, Ragnarok. Oh, God, is this the way I want to start off the fucking podcast with this nonsense? Hey, I've said in previous podcasts that, occasionally I just say whatever the fuck is on my mind. And, sometimes it's very profound and sometimes it's this horse shit. It struck me as odd. It's like, oh, he's the god of thunder. Now, if they had said he was like the god of thunder and lightning, or do they say that? And I'm just not, up to date on my comic book lore. But, I don't know. You guys don't give it. You know what? I realized about halfway into that I don't really give a shit. So let's move on. It's fucking Thursday. April something. I don't know. What's the fucking date today? 26th. April 26th, 2018. For those of you that might be listening in the future, it was on this day that this podcast officially went off the rails right from the beginning. I don't know. Okay, so you want to, I know you don't like the fucking Thor story, so how about something that's a little bit more thought-provoking? I was talking to my girl the other day. We were discussing Trump because there's that picture of Trump brushing fucking dandruff or whatever off of fucking Macron or Mackerel, whatever the fuck his name is. And how I guess he said like, oh, now you look perfect or some shit, right? And, it's a weird fucking thing for a person to do. And it caused me to really, kind of analyze Trump. I don't like so-called therapists, and I said this to her, and she's probably going to hear this podcast, and she'd be like, hey, you're just repeating our conversation. But hey, that was a conversation between you and I, not the rest of the world, and I feel like the rest of the world needs to hear my ignorance. So, settle down there, sweetheart. But, like, I don't like the fucking therapists or the so-called therapists that have so-called diagnosed Donald Trump to be, narcissistic or whatever the fucking diagnosis that they gave him. I don't like it, not because I fucking give a shit about Trump, but, any sort of ethical therapist knows that you don't really know anything about somebody until you actually have a conversation and a sort of an assessment. Which none of these people have. They're just looking at the things that he does, and they're throwing out fucking terms, and they've got everybody convinced that he is, that he is this narcissist, which I'll admit is probably true, but, I don't like that sort of fucking, bench racing sort of counseling or whatever. Diagnosing, that's the word I was looking for. But we were talking about this picture of Trump brushing off Macron's shoulder, brushing his fucking dandruff off, and you know, I mean, Trump. I'm convinced that Trump is. I mean, either he's. I mean, well, I don't know. I assume he's narcissistic, but I think he has more of the sort of antisocial slash psychopathology, um, mixed in with him, because he kind of shows a lot of the classic symptoms, right? I mean, just take this picture with him brushing Macron's shoulder. He's violating social norms, because usually people don't walk around brushing dandruff flakes off people's shoulders. I mean, unless it's family, but obviously they're not fucking family. And this idea that Macron, must fit Trump's ideal as far as what makes a good leader or what looks like a good leader. It's kind of the classical, I will try and mold the world to my existence, which is very typical of somebody that has the antisocial personality disorder. They really don't give a shit about anybody but themselves, but they realize that the only way that they can function in this world and get ahead, because that is really all they care about, the only way to do that is to appear somewhat human, to have typical human emotions. That's why you see all of the, he pretends to be fucking butthurt because some fucking news journalist hack says something about him, or I mean, the man didn't even buy his wife a birthday gift. I guess she just recently turned like 48 or some shit, and they asked him, he's like, oh, I was too busy. And I don't know, too busy doing what? What exactly is he doing? I heard he doesn't go into the office until like 11. He spends most of his time at fucking Mar-a-Lago. The president is part of the deal, I assume, with being the president is you sort of have you sort of access to a bunch of gophers, right? I'm pretty sure he could have sent somebody out to go get something for Melania. And it's not really even that I give a shit. I don't give a fuck. I mean, who cares? But just that idea that is like, oh, I'm too busy to give a shit about my wife. I think the only time that Trump and me and my girl talked about this, I think the only time Trump is that he truly feels comfortable that he can actually be himself is at rallies filled with people that when he's surrounded by people who actually cheer as he insults them. Perfect example would be when he talked about like how much he loves the poorly educated voters, is what he said, and people are fucking, they're cheering him loud, like, yeah, not even really understanding that he just fucking insulted them. I mean, or either that, or maybe they do know. And maybe they're just fucking masochists that love being insulted, which explains 100% why some of his followers seem more like disciples in a fucking cult than I don't know, than normal fucking people. And the same thing could be said about the Hillary supporters or just the Democratic Party supporters. A lot of them act like cult members. A lot of them, I voted for Bernie. I guess I'm a fucking socialist or some shit, whatever you want to fucking call it. And a lot of them, when you get into arguments with them, will try and accuse progressives of being in a cult because of Bernie Sanders. But, it doesn't seem to matter how many times we tell them that it isn't about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is not the fucking leader. He's just the mouthpiece that is hopefully forcing Democrats and others, forcing them to the left, because this center-right fucking agenda that they got going isn't fucking working. It's part of the reason that a shitload of people that had originally voted for Barack Obama turned around and voted for Trump, because they're fucking sick of the the corporatist bullshit. Now, of course, Trump is really no different. He's just as corporatist as Obama was, and or as Hillary would have been. But I don't know how he got it onto this shit, but I really do think that the only time he feels comfortable, that he doesn't have to put on the charade that, oh, I'm a fucking normal guy, is when he is surrounded by people that are too stupid to know. And I know that people get into trouble all the time with this assumption that all Trump supporters are, either racist or they're fucking stupid or whatever. And I'm not one of those people. I truly am not. I understand that people wanted to sort of upturn the apple cart, and that's why they voted for Trump. Not everybody is a racist hillbilly fucking hick that's banging his sister. I understand this, but I think that the people that are just like, and I'm not even talking about all Trump supporters. I just feel like the core sort of crazy supporters, the ones that are just on board with no matter what he does, and they'll never call him on any of the fucking shit that he's done. These people, I have to assume, aren't really all that bright, or else they wouldn't have fucking cheered being called the poorly educated voters that Trump loves. He basically said, I love when I can convince stupid people to follow me, And I think that's really the only time that he feels comfortable. I think that, and I honestly think that he really would love it if he could sort of push our political system towards a dictatorship where, he gets to say and do whatever he wants, because that's the only time he'll feel comfortable as a person. Right now, he's so uncomfortable because he has to pretend to be a normal person or semi-normal, which is why he'll do weird shit like, touch another man's fucking scalp flakes. I don't know. I don't really know where I was going with all of this, but it's just, like I said, I don't like the people that fucking diagnose. I definitely don't like the people that, fucking took like a Psych 101 class and have now decided that they are fucking experts at, assessing behavior. I'm working on my PhD in psychology, and I still don't feel comfortable fucking diagnosing people that I haven't actually sat down with and fucking had a chit chat, because a lot of the times when you talk to somebody, you find out that that some of the behavior that you see from people sort of stems from other shit. So I'm careful to not say, yeah, I definitely think Trump has, or Trump is a narcissist, or that he's antisocial. Yes, he shows a lot of the classic fucking symptoms of it, and not just the ones that everybody's fucking familiar with. But, he does show a lot of those symptoms. But to say that, without a doubt, that's what it is, that's, that's crazy, But, yeah, so that fucking concludes my 10-minute fucking discussion on Trump. I've done pretty well for the past, I don't know, few months of sort of avoiding the political fucking discussions. Mostly because I know you guys are tired of fucking hearing it, but, also because it's kind of a fucking bummer, I mean, the thing with fucking Syria, that's fucking insane. I'm glad that it didn't fucking start World War III, which is what a lot of people assumed would happen. But the fact that we even tempted you know, that there was even like, okay, let's see what what fucking the other superpowers will do. The fact that we even test that shit, and the fact that you have people both on the so-called left and the right calling for, essentially getting the ball rolling on fucking another world war. It's fucking frightening, and the thing in Syria is insane, because the people that are, and I mean, this includes not only fucking pundits and talking pieces in the government, but just regular fucking citizens on social media that are absolutely convinced that that Assad fucking gassed his own people, even and the ones that are just adamant about going over there and bombing him. I mean, the weird thing about that whole fucking situation, right, is that people claim like, oh, he gassed the children, the poor fucking children, and and the innocent people. But in the same breath we'll be like, let's go over there and fucking bomb the dog shit out of that country because we don't like what he did to the people. Just completely oblivious to the fact that that if you fucking send a missile strike into a fucking city, there's a high probability that people that weren't meant to fucking be affected by that missile or that bomb are fucking affected. There's a high probability that the women and children that you've got such a bleeding heart for will probably die also with our missile strikes. It just because Assad supposedly fucking used chemical weapons, which is highly fucking doubtful. I mean, all of the evidence points to it not even fucking, or to that whole thing being complete bullshit. But this idea that, oh well, chemical weapons are bad, but our fucking missiles are good. It takes a special kind of fucking idiot to really hold that sort of perspective. And this pretending like we give a shit about we don't even care about the fucking chemical weapons used on U.S. citizens here in this fucking country. I mean, how many fucking peaceful protests have been broken up by police spraying fucking tear gas at people? Tear gas is technically a chemical weapon. We don't give a shit about that. And we certainly don't give a shit about innocent fucking people, or else people would be calling for a strike on Israel for when they fucking shot up all those people, all of the Palestinians and shit. I think that's the most fucking frustrating thing, is all these people pretending like they give a shit. And a lot of them, okay, I'll admit, probably have good intentions, but the fact is that if you did just a little bit of fucking research that doesn't come from mainstream media, you will find that it is fucking ridiculous that Assad would fucking bomb his own people. He was on the verge of winning against the fucking rebels. If you watch videos of people that are actually in Syria, you'll see that they fucking love Assad. Hell, he won the election, when was it, 2006, 2007, by like 85%. Meaning a majority of the fucking country loves him. He was on the verge of winning the fucking war against the rebel forces that are trying to invade his country. What sense would it make for him to, after winning the war, or coming very close to winning the war, what sense would it make for him to then fucking bomb his own people and sort of stir up the ire of the U.S. and other countries to come in and fucking start bombing Syria? It doesn't make any fucking sense. And if people would just, for like 10 seconds, you know, turn off the fucking TV, turn off fucking Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and CBS and PBS and all of the fucking S's, if you would just turn off that shit and stop listening to people that make you feel good for fucking money and actually do some research, you'd find that the fucking, you know, that there's some serious fucking holes in this whole Assad gassed his own people fucking thing. And before anybody calls me a fucking Assad apologist or fucking congratulating a war criminal, yes, Assad has done some horrific fucking shit. But should I be more outraged at that war criminal while ignoring the fucking ones in this country that everybody suddenly fucking has a hard on for, like George Bush? You know, the guy started an illegal war in Iraq based on bullshit, killed more than a few million fucking people. The war is still going on as we fucking speak. You know, they tortured people. They committed fucking war crimes, but somehow the guy, the dictator, the whatever, you know, with the fucking brown skin, somehow he's worse of a war criminal than the guys that are in our country that we're now suddenly fucking in love with. In love with? You know what I was fucking saying. You know, but if people would just take a second and, you know, stop listening to fucking Rachel Maddow and Chris Hayes and Sean Hannity and fucking, you know, whoever else that makes you feel good when you turn on the fucking news. You know, if you just for a second turn that shit off and actually just do some fucking research, you'd find that a lot of the shit that they're saying on mainstream media is horseshit. I mean, isn't it weird that every single time we decide to go to war in a country, I mean, isn't it just a little bit strange to you guys that it just so happens that there happens to be like some sort of natural resource in these countries? Isn't it weird when, you know, a place that doesn't have natural resources does some fucking horrific shit to their people, and we just like, you know, that's on them. We don't have the fucking money or whatever fucking horseshit. I mean, does anybody find this just a little bit strange? You know, if you did your research on Syria, you would see that Qatar and Saudi Arabia would like to build a pipeline through Syria so that they can sell oil to Europe. You know, nobody finds that just a tad fucking strange that fucking Saudi Arabia and Qatar and Israel, they're all like, oh, we got to get rid of fucking Assad. He's such a fucking brutal guy, and you know, even though it makes no fucking sense that he would bomb his own people when he's winning the fucking war, you know, oh yeah, we got to get him out. Nobody finds that fucking weird in any way whatsoever, right? You know, all I'm saying is just, you know, I've been saying this also with, you know, when I would talk about how fucking horrific Hillary Clinton is, and some of the things that, you know, that fucking the centrist fucking Democrats, you know, they're always like, oh, you know, this is bullshit, and you don't know, you're a crazy person, and how could you possibly consider Hillary a worse candidate than fucking Trump, and I mean, I don't speak for every progressive, but I know that myself, I have always said, look, if you think I'm full of shit, if you think I'm lying, then just go look shit up. Go look it up. If I'm fucking lying, if I'm bullshitting you, then surely you will find evidence that I am fucking full of shit. But of course, it requires you to expand your fucking research beyond mainstream media, which happens to be owned by corporations that just so happen to be involved in the fucking defense manufacturing and shit like that. you know, if you're going, I mean, all I said is just look it up. Look up the shit that I'm talking about. Look up this why it doesn't make any fucking sense that Assad would fucking bomb his own people, uh, you know, during a time where he's on the verge of fucking forcing all of the rebels and shit, which are all, they're Al Nusra and Al Qaeda and ISIS. He's on the verge of forcing them out of his fucking country. It makes no sense that he would fucking gas his own people. I mean, either he's the stupidest fucking guy on the fucking planet, or he is just, he's basically saying, hey, come kill me. It's fucking ridiculous that he would do that. But, all you have to do is just look it up. But how many of the people listening that are already angry at my position on this, how many of you will refuse to look it up because you're convinced now that I don't know, I'm some sort of fucking crackpot or conspiracy theorist, or even fucking worse, that I'm some sort of fucking Russian fucking plant or bot or whatever. How many of you will just ignore it because it's easier to just keep on believing the bullshit that you think than it is to actually, upturn your apple cart of fucking knowledge. Why am I so angry at you guys? I don't know. It just it bugs the shit out of me how fucking, we are living in the day and age of fucking information where you have access to information at the fucking at the drop of a hat, or I don't know what other fucking little phrase, little clever fucking analogy. You have access to so much fucking information, and yet a lot of people just they refuse to take advantage of it. They feel like, well, I watch the news on TV or I read the newspaper, so yeah, therefore I'm informed. But the problem is that you're reading news that is owned by huge corporations that have certain stakes in making sure that people stay, or that making sure that people don't know the actual fucking truth, right? I mean, it's just it's I don't know. I want to say it's common fucking sense, but if it was common, then everybody would fucking, then there would be no fucking need for me to tell you to go do some fucking research, because if you had common sense, or if sense was common, there'd be no need for this fucking discussion. So, I don't know. It is what it is. Oh, God. It is what it is. Drop in the bucket. I really hate these fucking sayings. Although I do say it is what it is quite a bit. You know what other fucking saying I can't stand? It fucking, I don't know. It gives me fucking like chills when somebody fucking says it. When somebody says, oh, they're just young, dumb, and full of cum. It just sounds fucking disgusting. Like you say that because usually they're talking about somebody young, obviously, or else they would say, old, dumb, and I don't know, full of mold. I don't know, but it just when you say shit like that, you just sound like a fucking pedophile, right? And since when is anybody full of cum? Can you imagine how much cum you would have to be full of cum? Of course, I understand. I mean, I understand what they're saying, but just, if you analyze these stupid sayings, and you have the time to essentially sit around and waste time thinking about stupid shit, you will realize how fucking absurd that phrase is. I don't know. It grosses me out whenever I hear somebody fucking say that shit, because it sounds like anytime I hear somebody say that, I imagine a guy that looks like fucking Wilford Brimley. Does anybody know who that guy is? The fucking the Quaker's Oats guy. It just reminds me of somebody like that's talking about a fucking child, and it's gross. So if you are one of those people out there that says this fucking phrase, cut it out, you sound like a fucking pedophile. How long have I been talking? Yeah, only 30 fucking minutes. Should I cut it short here? I think I should. 'Cause at this point I'm fucking flailing. I don't know what to fucking say to you people. You know. I don't think my son's baseball coach likes me very much. I don't know. He's always coming at me all fucking passive aggressive, like I don't know, like a couple of fucking games ago, because my son's baseball team, like we're all over the fucking map. You know, sometimes we fucking dominate, and other times it's like they've never played baseball before. You know, it is essentially, it's like watching, I don't know, it would be the equivalent of, say, a fucking, a little league playing against a major league fucking team. Sometimes it feels like that. And, so I was just, I mean, my son, he gets upset when they lose. And I don't like seeing him fucking upset. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think winning is fucking everything, but fuck, you should probably try whatever you possibly can to fucking win, right? And I had, it was like a couple of months ago, I had fucking emailed the coach and I was like, I've been watching a couple of the games. There's some things that I've observed that, that I would like to fucking share with you. But I made sure in the, in my fucking email, I was like, look, if you don't want to hear it, it's fine. I totally get the whole fucking, you're the coach and you don't want the fucking, the dads or the parents from the fucking bleachers, stepping in. Like, I totally fucking get that. And I made sure that that when I said that, when I sent the email, I was like, look, I have suggestions, but obviously, I'm not going to just fucking throw them out there. Like, if you want to hear it, fine. If you don't, I totally get it. Fucking, I don't want to be the annoying fucking dad, so whatever. Right? And not whatever, like, like all fucking angry, but, just like, if you want to hear it, fine. If you don't, I don't give a shit, And, he sent me some fucking message back and he was just like, like it just sounded real fucking passive aggressive. It was just like, sure, if you want to share something, your kid is on the team, you have every right to fucking, give your observations or whatever. He said it was something to that matter, and it didn't sound like, yeah, I want to hear what you have to fucking say. It was more like, well, you paid your kids on the team, you have a right to fucking comment about, about your son's progress. And the thing is like, it wasn't even just about my son, it was just the team in general. But, just the way he came at me, I was like, all right, you know what? I didn't even respond. I was just like, all right, I'm just going to let that shit go. Because obviously, he doesn't really want to hear my fucking suggestions. Although he's one of those, like, he's being very polite in the way that he says it. But you can tell it's like, dude, I don't want to hear any fucking thing that you say. Right? Which is fine. And that's whole part of the reason why I fucking... it said in the email, like, before I fucking say anything, just tell me, do you want, like, do you, like, do you want to hear it or not? If not, it's totally fucking cool. I understand it, but just the way he came at me was just kind of weird. And then, like, fucking like a week ago, hold on a second. If you guys can't tell, I'm a little bit fucking distracted. Just responding to a text from my boss. How fucking entertaining is this? Listening to me fucking text. Alright, there. Done. Send. Oh yeah, the other fucking week, right? Well, like, one of the biggest issues that my own son has is like he's got the power, he has the he's got pretty good awareness and all of that. But what happens when he gets on, when he gets up to bat is he sort of, he fucking has jitters, right? And a lot of the times he'll just actually, it was happening all the fucking time. Like, fucking balls that he definitely could have hit, he'll just let them go by. And the reason is because he's hoping to just get walked, right? That way he doesn't have to fucking do anything, because he's worried about striking out. And I've had several conversations with him where it's like, dude, like everybody fucking strikes out. We went to the Giants game. We watched plenty of fucking professional baseball players strike out. It fucking happens to everybody, But one of the things I said that it's not okay is that you're just sort of fucking loafing, you wanted to play baseball. I told you during fall ball, when you said that you wanted to play during the regular season, that you actually have to you have to compete, you have to participate, you have to be of use, right? And we've had this conversation several times, and before every game I'm like, you gotta swing the bat, you gotta fucking swing the bat. You're not gonna hit anything if you don't swing the bat. I know that you're worried about striking out or whatever, but you never know what will happen if you're too afraid to swing the bat, right? And and every time he's like, yeah, I get it, Dad, and blah blah blah, right? So we're at another game. Didn't I say I was wrapping this shit up? I don't know. You got to listen to my boring fucking little league baseball stories. The other day he was it was actually like a week or two ago. He was, he was playing a game, or they were having a game, and he had been up to bat twice. And still, even though on the car ride there, he had promised me that, yeah, I'm going to swing, I'm going to do what I got to do, yada, yada, yada. He gets up to bat, 2 times. There's fucking pitches that he definitely could have fucking hit. He doesn't do shit, right? So, when they were up at bat again, like I went over before it was his time again, and I asked the coach, I was like, hey, can you send out my son? And so he came out, and for like 30 seconds, although, well, I'm not even 30 seconds. It was just a quick, like, buddy, you got to swing. And then I sent him back in. But also, as I called him out, another dad that takes the game probably 100 times more serious than I did also requested to talk to his son, because his son kind of does the exact same thing. And even though I didn't stick around to hear what he said, I could tell just from watching them when I got back to the bleachers that he was kind of giving his kid the fucking he's reading his kid the fucking riot act. You could just tell by the fucking body gestures and all of that shit, and you can look at the kid's fucking posture that he's essentially fucking crumpling into a fucking little ball. So it's obvious that the dad is giving him shit. But I don't know, whatever. So game's over. I don't think he ever got another chance to get up at bat. So it didn't, it wasn't like, we never got to see if he would actually fucking do it, right? So we go home, and the coach sends out a fucking message to the team or whatever, and one of he's talking about, like, parents, it's okay if you want to talk to your kids about like logistics things that have to do with your family, but please don't fucking try and come. He didn't say fucking, but like, don't come and try and like coach them, because it's it's supposed to be about the kids and yada yada. And it's like, it's like, dude, am I crazy here? Like, that kind of felt like he was talking to he was either talking to me or he was talking to the other dad or whatever. But being that I'd already sort of had developed this sort of fucking passive aggressive relationship with him, I kind of felt like, okay, he's trying to talk to me, but he's trying to be nice about it, and he's trying to make it seem like he's talking to everybody. It just fucking bugged me, right? And I was just like, all right, whatever, dude. I mean, I didn't say anything. I just like, all right, I'll just let it go, cause what am I gonna do? Fucking get into a yelling or a screaming match with my son's coach over fucking little league baseball? It's not fucking worth it, right? So fast forward to yesterday. The son had a game. He's had a couple of games since the last one I was telling you about, and he's swinging now. He finally is swinging. He's finally gotten over his jitters. Whatever, what I talked to him about, it fucking worked. There's some holes in his game, but not, but at least he's participating, which is all I care about. I told him that, before, like, dude, I don't care if you strike out. I don't care if you get a home run. All I want is you to just participate. And he was like the first game when he finally decided to swing, he struck out. And like after the game, he was like being all like weird, like he was worried that I was gonna be upset. And I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, all you gotta do is swing the fucking bat. That's all I care about. Just swing the bat. If it's a ball that you think you can hit, then swing at it. Obviously, if it's a ball that's a fucking ball or it's way off and shit, obviously I don't expect you to swing at those. But if balls that could be hit, swing at them. If you fucking strike out, who gives a shit? And he seemed like he understood it, because the games afterwards he's been very fucking relaxed. In fact, yesterday, he struck out, but he decided to buy me a hot dog after the game. So everything's good with him, right? And so I've been watching all of the fucking games, and one of the things that our team seems to struggle with. I know this is boring as fuck, and I promise you the story's almost fucking over. One of the things that we struggle with is batting against semi-decent pitchers, right? So I sent a message. I was like, hey, just a quick suggestion. Maybe during practice, we have the kiddos, we have like some of our top pitchers pitch to the kiddos so that they sort of get, so they have more practice swinging, or trying to bat against another kid pitcher, right? Because they always suggest like, oh, go to the batting cages, which the batting cages are great, but they're, the cages are more, you can go there and work on form. They're not really a good place to go to learn how to hit, because after a while the balls become, they become very predictable as far as where they're going to be. So all you have to do is make sure that you're always swinging your bat within that fucking zone. But batting against an actual person, and especially a kid, it's very unpredictable. So, to me, it seemed like it would make sense that, maybe we have, the kids throw against their own teammates so that they can get used to that. That way that, they get up to plate or up to bat, and it's not like, oh, fuck, this kid throws a little bit faster than the guy before him, or whatever the fucking case, right? I said, just just a suggestion or whatever, right? So then he fucking sends me, or he doesn't send me. He responds to the team chat, and it's like 4 or 5 fucking paragraphs talking about, well, we consider that, but we also have to rest our kids or rest our pitchers, and if the kids go to the batting cages and they do this and they do that, and during practice we go over this stuff, and it's hard to go through everything in just a short amount of time, and yada yada yada. And and I thought it was done. I mean, it was obviously more, to me it just came off as fucking like he's irritated that I even made a fucking suggestion about shit, and I agree that, I hadn't really thought about the fact that, yeah, I mean, it's probably not a good idea to have our top pitchers pitch because we want to preserve their arm. I agree with that. I understand it. I didn't think of it, and it would have been fine had he just said that, right? But then, like, I don't know, like 10 or 15 minutes later, he sends out another fucking like 5-paragraph fucking text. And it's just like, okay, this dude is just fucking stewing over there. Like, he obviously is upset about shit. And he fucking makes this comment about like, well, if the kids go to both practices a week, there should be improvements and yada, yada, yada. And it just so happens that my son, this week and the week before has only been able to make it to one of the practices because, like last week, I forget what it was. We had some sort of fucking family thing that was, it was just scheduled and he couldn't fucking make it. And this week, he had hurt his fucking leg and he didn't want to, risk fucking injuring it further. So he missed practice. But so it was just 100% fucking, passive aggressiveness. And at the end of it, I responded and I was like, I try to laugh it off. I was just like, ha ha ha, did I open a can of worms here? I was like, it's just it was just a suggestion, like I didn't mean anything by it. And then he didn't respond after that. But it was just like, dude, fucking, like, don't say that you welcome fucking suggestions and shit like that, and then when somebody makes a fucking suggestion, you go on this fucking tirade that is obvious you're fucking irritated. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, he seems like a good dude. I'm not upset with him. Like, I get it. I understand where it's coming from. To him, I am just the annoying fucking parent, butting into their coaching. And I don't know if he's taking like my suggestion or whatever as though I'm somehow criticizing his coaching. The thing is like, I 100% get it, but it's just like, dude, like do like you could have just not fucking gone on the fucking tirade. You obviously don't want suggestions, because when I give you suggestions, or when a parent gives you suggestions, you obviously don't fucking appreciate it, and again, I fucking understand it, but it was just, I don't know, it bugged me. It was just like, dude, fucking settle down, okay? Like, obviously, like, I get it now. Like, don't fucking say anything unless it's like, good job or whatever, like, I get it, and that's fine. I won't make any more fucking suggestions. But I was just like laughing about it last night. I was like, dude, really? Fucking, like that could have been like a fucking research paper. The amount of fucking the length of the fucking messages he was leaving, it was just insane. But anyway, I realize how boring a fucking conversation, or, a story that is. So I am going to end it here for real this time. I hope you are having a good fucking week. You just got one more day, and then, and then it's the fucking weekend. So, I don't know, settle down. But anyway, I will, maybe I'll give you another podcast tomorrow, or maybe I fucking won't. You never know. That's part of the mystery of this podcast. So, we'll see what happens. But if I don't, I will talk to you guys again next week. And I hope you have a good fucking weekend and all of that shit. Like always, don't take any shit. Go fuck yourself. Peace.